where did you start? Like, at what point did you start making content seriously, like as a profession? And um, what inspired you to start doing it, really?
Yeah, of course. Uh, what First off, I've been in entertainment for how old am I? 23. So about 13 years since I was 10. And I started off in musical theater on stage, dancing, acting, singing, and I went to school for it. And I was working in the industry for a while in New York, and then I worked, in Toronto and in California. So like all these different places at such a young age, which I was very fortunate and blessed to do. But then obviously the pandemic happened, and we're all forced to sit still. And I've always wanted to just do everything known to man in the entertainment industry, from modeling to acting, singing. What else is there? Uh, Fashion, everything just kind of like in that like of showbiz. I just have a love for it, and I definitely will be doing all of that in my career. That's the trajectory that I see myself on. But
Yeah, totally.
because of the pandemic, it allowed me to kind of like, okay, well, I no work is coming up, and I'm not really, doing anything. So we were taught in school, when you don't have work, you make work for yourself, right? And
Yeah.
so I just started getting on TikTok. And it was before like TikTok was, because I was introduced to TikTok like early 2020. And I was like, okay, this is something recreational, something for the kids. It's funny, it's play, right? Like it's play. And then I started like just doing fashion videos, like styling videos, how to style clothes. Cause I was like, y'all need help. So I started doing those, and one really took off. One had my first actual video on TikTok get to 1 million, which I was like, "Oh, amazing!" And then I was like, "I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, it was great, but I don't know if I really want to do that. I want to like have my sights set on music at the time, still set on that, but at the time it was just like full-fledged music because it allowed me to have time to actually sit down and write and
Yeah.
play the piano. And then I don't know what happened. I think I kind of fell into a rut where I think kind of everyone went through it. You're in Australia, so I don't know how things were different, culturally, and how like the different nationalities took it because it was handled differently
Mhm.
in each place. But I think I can speak for the world when I say everyone just kind of went through that depression and the pandemic, or like everything's taken away from me, nothing's really happening. Um, and I just started. I kind of had the same like aha moment, like or in like an epiphany, where I was like, well, that happened once, talking about just me getting 1 million, which a number does not equate to how good something is. But I was like, people like it. Okay, people like this. People are sharing it. It's getting a lot of attention. There's something there.
Mhm.
And then January, February, like you said, actually, I'm new to this too. So
Yeah.
January, February, I was like, I'm going to start taking this seriously. I was like, if that can happen without me even wanting that to happen, like hoping that would happen, what would happen if I actually took it serious? If I actually plan this stuff out, started giving thought into all of my projects and all of the videos that I do, and lo and behold, it took off. I got a lot of attention and I guess fame from the reenactment videos that I do, and people really love them, and I love them, and they were really born out of a place where uh, that's just something that I just quote on the daily. That's just me. Like I just quote popular videos or notable memes that everyone knows, and I just quote them like to my friends. That's how we have conversations, and I was like, let me do it in front of the TV. Let me see if I can. Like I act. Let me see that. That's my profession. Let me see if I can embody this person, this reality star. And people really liked it, and people are still loving it. And I'm happy about that. But like you said, and how we kind of got started was with that comes a lot of responsibility and pressure to deliver. And a lot of people, a lot of famous TikTokers or social media influencers kind of stumble upon success, because success is not a destination though, but they stumble upon attention. They stumble upon a lot of it. And um, it's one of the things, like, you don't really know how to handle it all sometimes. And personal things that you were dealing with long since this even started are still demanding lots of you, and just you're in demand at a certain point. And you had to take that break for yourself. You had to say, okay, where I'm at right now is totally fine. I'm going to be okay. But I'm the type of person where I can say that to myself 1,000 times. You could tell me that 1,000 times. Anyone could tell me that 1,000 times, and I won't believe you. I'll be like, no, I had to keep working. I'm not going to get ahead. I had this whole grind mentality. If I'm not, and that I compensate because I don't have a natural strong work ethic. I will mosey around. I will watch hours and hours of Netflix. But I realized that I had to kind of drop those old habits in order to propel myself for my, in my dreams, instead of watching someone live my dream on Netflix. And there's nothing wrong with Netflix. I love Netflix, but instead of watching someone for hours, living my dream, I'd rather be on set for hours living my dream, right? So it's just one of those things where, like, I have to drop those old habits of unmotivation and sluggishness and procrastination, which has been a tough road for me. And there's been a lot of tears and a lot of just like reluctancy around wanting to create it. But to end my point, you can't create in negativity. You can't create anything good in negativity, regardless if it's a reenactment video or a major blockbuster film, whatever it is. And so that's the thing too. A lot of people come in with egos or negative mindsets, but it's one of those things where it's like, if I don't want to make this video, if everything in me is like, I'm dragging my feet to do it, I don't need to do it. At least not right now. I rather do it when I get to do it. I want to do it. I'm happy to do it. I had so much fun. That's when I feel like the best work like blooms and
yes.
And so, yeah.
I found that too. Yeah, that's a really good point, because I found that when I've started to push things out or started to feel like I'm forced to do something, it's never as good. Like, it's always like from a creative standpoint, but also the end video itself is not as good. Like, I think you have to wait till the inspiration is there and you're in the moment. You're like, oh, okay, I'm feeling it, and this feels right. They can't just push something out for the sake of it. And that's hard, because social media, you feel like you have to be constantly putting stuff out. So you've settled on the Monday to Thursday work ethic, which I love. The 4-day working week. That's perfect.
Yeah, 4-day working week. And now that I've now my other job that I was committed to, that was not of my own creation, that is now ended because the school year's ended. But so now I have even more time to just fully dedicate myself on those days. But it's one of the days too, like, even during the day, I'm big into fitness as well. So I'll carve out 2 hours for fitness on the Monday through Thursday schedule. I'll work when I need to work. And I'll also designate time. I'll like an hour to watch Hulu, to watch Netflix, to like, I still want to do things I want to do, that still make, like, it's just all a balance. And so one thing I had to tell myself is that you're not going to have it all figured out right when you're starting. It's going to definitely be an experience, and you're going to fall so many times, but all that matters is that you get back up. And so I kind of see things actually now that, where I am right now presently, turning around and kind of understanding how I work, how I like to work, and what works for me to produce the best projects. And I have so many things and ideas and projects that I'm working on for the future that I'm like, this is bigger than a TikTok, So like, if I'm getting burnt out from TikTok, then I definitely need to establish a regimen of how I'm going to keep myself sane, but also produce beautiful things going forward.
That's really important. I think that's great. So if you were to start this all over again, would you go back and tell yourself these things? Like if someone was to come to you and say, look, I'm thinking of starting this, what would your advice be? What would you say to them?
Oh my gosh, what would I say to them? You're not a slave to social media. First of all,
Yes, yes.
you're not a slave to social media. You're not a slave to anything. You know, you work for you. You know, you're you. Do whatever you need to do. Secondly, everything that glitters is not gold. Do not jump at the first opportunity that comes your way. Do not, jump at a brand deal, a partnership, management agencies, whatever. Just do your homework, do your research. If it's legitimate and things are great for you, great. Take it and run with it. If it's in alignment with your journey, but you don't have to jump at every single thing that comes your way. And then there's a third thing that popped in my mind. I just forgot it. Oh gosh. Oh, it was a lot of people will see you doing great. Your haters will see you doing great and they'll have things to say about you. Even sometimes your friends, your family will have awful things to say about you behind your back that'll come to light. Or you say, oh, you shouldn't do this, or stop doing that, or I don't know why people think this is funny. When you're on your way to bigger, things, to higher heights, sometimes you have to lose the dead weight to
Mm-hmm.
keep going up. So I think those are the three things that it'd have been comforting to hear, starting out in this and just knowing, just being aware of that when or if those opportunities, or not opportunities, but those things do present themselves. So
Yeah. I think it's important to also be truthful. Like if you're whatever content you're creating, whether it's acting, singing, like modeling, I think it's important just to be happy with it yourself and don't worry about the judgment from other people too. Like whether it's your friends or your family, like if it
right.
resonates to you, if you're trying to share something that's a part of you, that's probably the most important thing, I would say.
Definitely. Yeah, I just realized that a lot of people, and it kind of taught me. I'm also a person that I've never really wavered in who I am. Obviously, it's been sometimes more than others I would, but at the core of who I am, it's been hard for me to not be that person. So in this, sometimes I would see myself like, are you doing this for this reason, or are you actually being, true to who you are in your heart? But I found that people can smell authenticity, like people love it. And I get the most love or even engagement or following from being me. And it's kind of rewarding to be like, oh, wow, I can like not hold my breath anymore and like know and be confident in people loving me for who I am. And I am enough. So
Yeah, you're not pretending to be something that you're not, which is,
yeah.
I don't know how you could do that, honestly, if you're trying to maintain that over a period of time. You're trying to be something
Oh
that
my
you're not.
gosh.
It would be exhausting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great advice too, honestly.
Definitely.
And so how did you come across my TikTok? Because I know like I've obviously connected with a bunch of people, but it's been great to connect with you as well. Like how did you find me?
Adam, actually, I'm gonna tell you, you are actually a low-key lifesaver. Because I came across your TikTok, it was just on my For You page, and I was like, wow, yes, great choice. I agree with him. Oh my gosh, yes, they're like I would never done that. And for a lot of people like me, I get my training more so for live auditions, like in person. So I was never really taught. We had a little, class here and there, but I was never really taught on how to do things like self tape and do it well.
Mhm.
And so during the pandemic, I had a lot of opportunity for auditions, and I was like, and there was actually one night I remember. I'm gonna get a little personal. There was one night I was not prepared for this audition. I'm gonna be completely honest, and I was like scrambling to get things done, and like to get like the work down and memorize the lines and understand, my objective and my beats and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I've been rusty. Like I've been out of school since 2018. And then also I just had not practiced the craft since the pandemic. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm rusty. They're gonna tell that I suck. And I was like, I know exactly who to go to. And I went to your page and looked at all. I was like, okay, he says do this. Okay, do that. I'll do that. No, I won't do that. Like I was like nitpicking everything that worked for me for this particular audition. And
Hmm.
I was like, Adam, you saved my life. Don't know, haven't heard from the audition, but
Hey, you were
I know
happy with it.
yeah, I was happy with it. So, but I was like, without you, it would have just been a no from the so yeah.
That's great. No, that's awesome. So where did you go to drama? Was it drama school that you went to, or like what did you study?
Yeah, I studied musical theater.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I studied musical theater in New York in at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, also known as AMDA.
Hmm.
And yeah, I loved it. I loved my time there. You know, I'm from North Carolina, a small town in North Carolina. So being, in New York City, it's such a difference from, here we have fields and mice and you get everywhere in 1 minute versus New York where it's skyscrapers and it never sleeps and you have to take a subway, a bus, and a car and walk several
Hmm.
blocks to get somewhere. So it was definitely a nice it was a big contrast, but I loved it. I felt like I've always belonged there or in a big city where the industry is. But yeah, I went there and I had some of the best years of my life at that school and in New York. So
Hmm.
I'm waiting to get back there.
So did you audition to get in there initially?
Yeah, I did. I auditioned to get there into there initially. I remember I was scared out of my mind.
I was gonna say, do you remember that audition? I'm sure you do.
I do and I don't. Like, I remember it was I had to give a no, I did not. Did I? I don't remember if I had to prepare a monologue before an acting school. I definitely feel like I should have. I know I sang. I sang something that was not right for me at all. I sang "You'll Be Back" from Hamilton, and that's King George's song. And I was like, I would never be King George. I don't know why I sang that. And then I did a dance combination that was taught, and the auditioner, he was like, "Do you know this term, this term, this term, and this term? If I just tell you it, would you know how to do it?" And I was like, "No." And then he was like, "See, a lot of people in the program would already know how to do this." And I was like, "I'm never getting into this school." And then a month later, I got into the school. So
Huh.
that happens. But I was like, oh my gosh, like it's cutthroat here in New York. And it is, but it's also one of the kindest places I've ever been to as well. So
Hmm.
yeah.
And so did you make like a bunch of friends that you would collaborate with at drama school? Because that's
Yeah.
something I've heard
So,
regularly.
yeah, so many, and it's a lot of people who I am the type of person where if I win, you win, if I win, we all win. Only if you are a supporter, you've been loyal and everything. And I definitely want to pull, my talented family, my talented friends up with me. So I definitely love to incorporate my friends and honor them and respect the work that they do as well, because it's honestly like we thrive off of each other, and we learn so much from each other in a space where you can create and make such a beautiful body of work. And it's such a pleasure to do that with the work that we do. But yeah, I mean, I have so many projects, like I keep saying, that like I am like, oh my gosh, I can get this girl on that I used to dance with in school. Oh, and then like this guy who we did cruise ship together, and we can do all this. Like, I just have so many different ideas that like people, like even my friends don't even know that they're being considered for like my own stuff. So it's just like, yeah, I definitely made a lot of great connections and great relationships from even staff to my peers to just people you meet on the street in auditions, that I think will last a lifetime and that will definitely show within everything that I want to do.
That's awesome. So what were the things that you actually learned at drama school? Because I'm curious to know like what sort of things you're taught, like the fundamentals, the theory, because that's something I haven't
Right,
studied or know anything about really, honestly.
right. Oh my gosh, what were we taught? Yikes, Adam! Now I have to go back
Sorry.
3-4 years ago. Um, yikes.
Sorry to put
Definitely.
you on the spot.
Here's the thing. I realized, and I actually forget. Like, I don't know if we like study like Stanislavski or um Adler. I forget like what method we were taught or like what type. But I realized that I am a method actor, very much so. Like, I have to live it to really like be in it. To really bring you something good. But one thing I can say is that we were taught a lot about not letting the emotion drive the scene. That just the first thing that comes to mind. It was stressed a lot. Don't play the emotion of a scene, and kind of let it just come up naturally just by speaking back and forth. Like you say something, I say something. You say something. That's really. And one of my Alan Rickman, who was Snape in Harry Potter, he says in an interview, acting is just listening and then reacting to what they're saying. Like, that's really what it is. It's like, wow, like that's so simple. Like, obviously there's more like stuff to it, but like in its most simplest form, that's what it is. And so that's something that I brought into what they were teaching there. They also taught a lot about, it was really centered around the industry and how the industry works.
Okay.
I would say, if I did want something more, was just about like how to really work on the craft, But they were definitely, since they were in New York and Broadway was right down the street, and they were filming Sex in the City, like the I don't know, sequel to the sequel to the sequel, all the time. We were right there, So to the industry we wanted to work in, so it was something where it was very centered around how to be in the industry, how to get work in the industry. So a lot about like your resume, do's and don'ts of auditions, 5-year plans, how to make it in New York as a struggling actor. You'll never catch me struggling, okay? Like, a lot of that, I felt like I did a horrible job at explaining to you what we did there. But yeah, it was centered around a lot of just industry education.
Related work, yeah.
Yeah, just related work. But yeah, it was intense. It was a conservatory, so it was 2 years. I went for a year and a half because I went through the summer, so I condensed it, and it's a lot, especially they divided it into semesters, so first, second, third, and fourth, and it taught me. It was a humbling experience also, because you're in a big place and you come from you're a big fish in a small pond, then you go to New York and you're a small fish in a gigantic ocean. And everyone, learn everyone can act equal if not better than you, sing equal if not better, dance equal if not better, and everyone looks like you too. So it's one of those things too where like you find what makes you you, but it's also a humbling thing to know that I believe just the same. Like, I'm not, gonna get all cocky and conceited about this. But yeah. I hope I answered that.
No, it sounds like an amazing experience. Honestly, like I feel like it's something that really grounds you and also gives you like a good foundation to move forwards, because it's such an amazing experience to build from. Like, yeah, without that, I don't think you would be where you are, right?
Right, exactly. And I mean, everything, as I said, I wasn't about to go to that school, but you only regret the chances you don't take, because I was scared to go to New York for some reason. I don't know why, because now I just go to New York like yesterday. But yeah, it was a great experience.
And now talk to me about your music too, because I've seen you on Instagram Live, like just playing the piano. Like,
yeah,
talk to me about that.
I'm looking at my piano. I was never a singer-songwriter. I was always a singer, never a songwriter. But I enthuse about music so much. I'm always telling my friends, like, listen to this song, listen to this song, listen to the lyrics. I feel like a lot of people don't listen to music for the lyrics. We just listen to it for the beat. And the beat is fire. The beat is great. I love the beat. However, I'm just like, but the lyrics, listen to what they're saying because it's storytelling, you know? And you can learn a lot about an artist through their music and what they've gone through and the story that they choose to tell. And 2 years ago, I was talking about this one song, I forget the artist, but I was talking about it, and my friend was like, you know what, Corey, you should write music. And I looked at her and I was like, get out. Like, I'll literally be like, the sky is blue, the sun is bright, the grass is green. Like, that's what you're getting out of me. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And I like pushed it to the side and never thought about it until the pandemic. And then pandemic came up. I was like, I'm bored today. What? This is before TikTok ever became like a thing, and for me at least. And I was like, today I guess I'll play the piano. I've been playing piano on and off since I was 5. So on and off equal to now knowing how to play the piano. So I was like, let me just see, some chords. And then I started singing about ex relationships and family and friends and the woes of life. And I was like, that wasn't half bad, Corey. Like, good job. And yeah, so I was like, let me just go ahead. This is what I want to do, So let me go ahead and put it out there. If I'm doing TikToks about fashion, about clothes, if I'm doing reenactments, you're also going to see me for my music and for my dancing and for my modeling. And social media in this day and age, it serves as your resume as well. So I was like, I'm just gonna put covers, original songs up, and now people like them. They come to my Instagram a lot from TikTok for the reenactments, and they get GQ photo shoots and covers and original songs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this too. And I'm like so excited because while TikTok and while reenactment videos are great, and I do love to do them, now that I've started to take a break from them throughout the week, I know that now my music and other things that I have always had a passion for since I was a child are getting noticed, and that's a possibility for real for my career. But yeah, since the pandemic, since March of 2020, I've written 70 songs.
Oh wow.
Not to say that they're all good at all. Majority of them are crap. But but as you do it, you get better with anything, right? So
of course.
I got better, and now I'm writing hits. So it definitely served as therapy for me. It definitely served as a way to release, and that's what art should do. No matter what it is, it should be that therapy for you. Yeah.
I think it's great because when people, like you say, they come from your TikTok, they go from the reenactments, and they go to your Instagram and they see, oh, there's more than just reenactments, which I think is really also another thing for people to know is really important, because that's why I started doing the podcast too, because I don't want to just be that person who gives out 60-second pieces of advice. Like, it's important to do the self-tape challenges and also have a podcast where you're able to talk in a longer form. And I think it's about expressing your well-rounded individual underneath, the fact that you're able to show that you're a model and a musician as well as an actor is really important, because then it gives people a sense of the whole you, not just the reenactments.
Exactly. I was thinking to myself, I was in the beginning, actually, I was really scared of the reenactments becoming the sole thing that people know me for. I didn't want to fall into a box, but I was like, Corey, I have full control of that. I have full control of that. And so I was just today even, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start doing more dance videos. I miss dancing. So I was like, I'm just gonna start doing them,
Totally.
I did a
doggies. She's here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What type of dog is she? Sorry.
She's a whippet.
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard of a whippet.
It's like a small, it's like a mini greyhound.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yes. Not quite an Italian greyhound, but slightly bigger.
Oh, nice. Cute. What was I saying? No, but I want to do more dance videos. So it's just I have full jurisdiction of that. But I was completely scared. I was like, I don't want people to put me in this box, and like now I can't do anything else. Like, no, they can love that, but then, like, I can also put this out. I can put this out. I can put this out, and it's just honestly exposure. You
Totally.
never know what people are gonna like. You never know what people are gonna rock with until you just do it. And um,
I think they're the
that's like
gateway, right? They're the gateway to you as a person, like an exposure. Like obviously
right.
those videos have millions of views, and that's just the gateway to you as a brand and as a person.
Yeah. Yeah, it hasn't like I have I was say like I haven't even done everything like that's only one thing I want to do. And that even happened, the reenactments just happened spontaneously. Like I didn't want that ever really
An
to happen.
accident, right? It was an accident.
Oh yeah, it was an accident. And I was like, okay, now I can really start turning, this into a career and a brand. And this opens up the doors, like you said, a gateway. It opens so many doors for so many other things to happen. But that's why I kind of started branding myself like something for everyone. If you don't like my reenactments, you'll like my modeling. If you like my modeling, you'll like my fashion. If you like my fashion, you like my music. Like it's just something, you're bound to like something. And if you don't, you just don't like me and you can hit the unfollow button.
So
Yeah.
what do you want to do with it moving forwards? Like obviously you're building something and it's like it's going really well. um how do you see it going? Like what do you want to do?
As far as the reenactments,
No, everything, like your social in general, like the music, the
oh,
dancing, the modeling. You just want to keep doing it, or what's your plan with
yeah.
it?
I'm always, I'm never satisfied with what I do. So I'm like, yeah, I put it out. And then I'm like, how can I do it better? Just how can I do it better? It just haunts me. I definitely love it for what it is, but I'm always just trying to get to the next level of, how to not be predictable, how to not um, just, yeah. So I definitely see myself doing more, especially within this next year of laying down the groundwork for where I see myself. So that whether that is even like I'm still doing the reenactments, but like doing something different where it's like reenactments with other big TikTokers, or in doing collabs with people in something that you already know. Um, Getting myself in the door with modeling and kind of laying down those bricks for that. Like you mentioned music earlier, I have music coming soon because a lot of people are like, oh, where can we listen to this? But a 30-second snippet on Instagram. And I'm like, I hear you, I see you, stop yelling at me. It's coming. So it's just literally, I feel like I've nurtured the reenactments and TikTok so much to where it's kind of become its own person, like its own, like figuratively, right? Like
Yeah.
it was a baby, now now it can feed itself, now it can do that. I need to do that with so many other things now, so that everyone gets like everything gets equal care.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I don't like to, speak on anything specifically until it's concrete. But yeah, doing that, and I definitely want to, my ultimate dream is to, since day one, is to be on Broadway, and it will happen, So that's something too where it's like I can't lose sight of that. So definitely nurturing that dream and nurturing that like little child like Corey and be like, this is gonna happen. Our dreams are gonna come true. We're gonna get there. So it's just so much that I want to do, but it'll all happen in time. And yeah, just keep my Monday through Thursday work schedule and it will be good.
Yeah, nice. So what about the auditions and the acting side of things? How is that going?
Going really well. I realized how unprepared I was. I realized how much I slacked. And I know you mentioned earlier to just about like if I could say anything to someone starting off or to myself before starting on this like social media journey. I also want to redirect that to acting or just like anything. I always say this, if I could go back to college, I would,
Mm.
and I can. Don't know if I want to, but I would like having never done it before because I realized how much I did kind of slack off, and I was like, wow, if I really just was about the work, I would just be so I would just be better. And it's not about like wanting to be better because I'm definitely happy with where I am now, but it's just like like I was saying about the TikTok earlier, like I was just kind of flying by the like seat of my pants, not really putting in any effort. It's like, imagine what you can do if you put in effort. Imagine the more refined you can be if you put in the work, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I um, want to start being about that I was never serious about. I wanted to be an actor, but I wasn't serious about being an actor. And I wasn't serious about working. I wanted to work, was not serious about it. And you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. The past is the past, can't change it. So you do what you can now with what you have and the knowledge that you have. And so now I'm like, you know what? I want to be about the work. I want to know what it means to work hard. And so with acting, with auditions, I also can being completely candid. I am, you know, that people are like, oh, I'm a dancer first, singer second. I was definitely singer first, dancer second, actor dead last. And but I let that I got comfortable in that. I got comfortable in that ranking. I got comfortable not being the best actor. And I was like, well, I can get by with just singing and dancing. No, singing and dancing is acting. You have to act in singing and dancing,
Totally.
song and dancing as well.
Yes.
Everything's acting. Everything's acting. And I had to learn that the hard way, but we're here and we're still alive and we're thriving. But I would, if anything, you know, I just want to be more serious about the work and not letting my own negative thoughts or not even letting my own weakness stop me from wanting to be better, you know? And yeah, so it's just, you know, knowing also that you are enough. And I feel like that's been preached so much, but it's so true. You know, in a room where we're like, however much you prepared, if you know you've done your best, it honestly does not matter if you get the job or not. You want the job, yeah, I get it. But if you know that you have done your best, and you know that you have worked hard for this role, and you don't get it, at least you know that you didn't get it maybe because you were 2 inches too tall versus you can't act, you know?
Yes.
So it's just, you know, it's one of those things that I just want to work harder and just be about the craft and not do it for the applause, to quote Lady Gaga, to not do it for the accolades. Don't do it for, you know, the numbers or whatever. Just do it because you love to do it and because you just love to do the work. So
Yeah, something I've said to lots of people is just the opportunity to audition is the fact that like is the success in itself.
yeah,
Because you can never really like know for sure. Like you don't know that you're going to get a role, and sometimes you'll feel like you did a terrible audition and you'll get cast in
yeah,
something, and it's not really down to you at the end of the day. So just doing you, being the person you are, and then doing the best audition you can is probably the best advice you could ever give to someone, because people hang on to things too much, I think.
yeah, yeah. I had an audition last week and I messed up 2 lines, but I kept going. You know, you just have to be strong and wrong and just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And I pat myself in the back for that one. I was like, wow, Corey, like no, like if I was in front of an audience or someone's watching TV, they would have not known the difference, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, so good job for that. But then I was also like, I started beating myself up. I was like, but the writers know what the words are. But I was like, wow, Corey, you messed up. But I was like, but the writer's also human and I'm also human. Now I'm gonna go get frozen yogurt to calm my nerves. So not a bad I mean, not the worst audition I've ever had, but you know.
Mistakes are fine. It's something I've said to people as well. Like if when you're in the position that I was in and I'm watching all the audition tapes, someone does something different, even if it's changing a word or they say something different, it snaps you out of the rhythm of the scene. So you're not wanting perfect, like you don't want perfection, you want interesting. So the fact that someone makes a mistake is not the end of the world. And the fact that people beat themselves up over mistakes makes me mad, because I'm like, don't worry about it. Because the person who's watching it probably thinks it's more interesting than for someone who got it perfect anyway.
Right. They're not living in your head, you know, like yeah, I needed you last week.
So if there's anything I can help you with, like in terms of your auditions and self-tapes, don't hesitate to reach out. Like I feel like my page in itself is kind of helpful. The fact that you were talking about just going through and like scrolling through the videos to find things that were useful. I found that myself, like Yeah, I've gone back to watch things and be like, oh, that's kind of useful for later. Like it's evergreen. If someone wants to
Yeah,
find it and like go back and watch it, they can.
definitely. And I don't want to wait on work to come to me to refine my skill, to hone
Mm,
my skill set.
yeah.
So I'm always like, even my friends, some of my friends are back this summer from college, and I was like, guys, can we do like a weekly like sip mimosas and like just workshop scenes, you know? Like let's just like do that and let's just like talk about a character and talk about, you know, what would you do in this scene versus what would your character do in this scene? Like talk about them like they're people. Like, can
Yeah.
you believe like he did this? Like I love that's my method to doing it. So yeah, I just want to work. So definitely, I definitely will do that. You know, be like, Adam, I have this thing coming up. I know nothing about what I'm doing. Please
It's
give me
just
this stuff.
practice, right? And sometimes the solution is really simple. Like most of the time when people ask me things, my answer is very, very simple. Like
Yeah,
even if it's just like you're auditioning for one line and they're like, how do I make this interesting? And I'm like, well, think about the physical. Like, how do you make it interesting physically rather than like think about the words? Like, how do
yeah,
you make the scene come to life and make your character like place your character in the world in an like in an audition setting, obviously, but like how do you bring it to life? Like, is there someone in the corner? Like, what are you holding? Like ground
right.
yourself in the scene so that when you feel like, oh, it's so boring because I've only got one line for this audition, like how do I do it? Just
Yeah,
bring it to life, like make it
and
feel real.
that's the thing, Adam. And obviously, we can talk about this, you know, other times as well coming up. But it's like what my biggest thing is like when to do it, knowing when to do those things, and when you're doing too much, when you're doing too little, knowing what you're doing is just right. It's like when to
Mm-hmm.
embellish and when how far to go. So that's always been my big question, and I didn't ask those questions in college. So here we go, college again. Here we are.
Well, sometimes like when I say physical, it's just subtle, right? Like whether it's the angle of your shoulders, the eye line that you're taking to the other person, like the eye line on the opposite side of camera too. Like that,
Right.
those things in themselves make it more interesting rather than you standing and staring at the other person and just saying
Yeah.
your one line and doing your hoping that the emotion that you have is the right emotion.
Right.
So those things bring it
Right.
to life. Like something that people have really found that resonates with them is distractions. Like having a
Mm.
distraction, because in real life we have distractions all the time. We rarely ever we rarely ever
Yeah.
just stand and stare at each other and look into each other's eyes unless it's something really powerful. So
Right.
you've
Right.
realized that, oh, that's powerful. And then I have distractions to bring my character to life. Like there's a million things going on inside their head and what they're looking around. It's like, even when we're talking to each other, like we still look around our rooms.
I just did it. I was just like, yeah, like with my necklace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even like something little like that is something that makes you feel real as an act. Like when you're watching a scene and it feels like, oh, this person's a good actor, is like they are real. Like it's a real person rather than an actor playing a character.
Definitely. Definitely. Oh my gosh, Adam, you're godsend. Yeah, definitely. I love it. I love it.
It's been really good talking to you, Corey. You are episode 10 of my podcast. So we made it to
Yeah.
10.
Oh my gosh.
Love
Wait, so
it.
do you already have episodes out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. On Spotify?
Spotify, iTunes,
Okay.
Instagram, YouTube, all over the place.
Let me go listen.
Well, you've got 9 episodes to catch up on.
I know. I
I'd
will. I
recommend the
promise.
first one, actually. Miles is really great. Like Miles is an actor. I don't know. You probably recognize him in like some things, but
Mhm.
he's like an actor who started in his 40s. Like he went to
Wow.
drama school, went off to do other things in life, then came back, and now he's like crushing it in the game. And he talks
Wow.
about working with Denzel, and like he worked on a whole bunch of things as a stand-in first and commercials, and like built his way up over 10 years. So that's a
Yeah.
good one. If you want
That's
to,
amazing.
episode 1 is a good one.
I love that. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, really great talking to you. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your time off, because I know now that Thursday Thursday's done.
Yeah. You're
You
my
got
last
freedom
you're my
weekend.
last thing. You're my last thing
Great.
of the
That's awesome.
week.
Um, and yeah, and have a great weekend.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we'll be in touch, Adam. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
awesome. Thank you.